Welcome to Dina Bailey, Senior Assignment Editor for ESPN. And okay, so before we get into what you do, tell us how does someone, a lot of people want to be in that chair. How did you get to ESPN?
So I went to University of Virginia,
Go ahead.
it's the long version or short version.
Whatever version you want to give me. The in-between version.
I studied communications at University of Virginia. My senior year, I did an internship with a video production company on our campus, and so I kind of did the basics, linear editing, videotaping, shooting, a little bit of everything. As it turns out, I was also working in the athletic center office and came across someone who saw my resume, wanted to pass it along to a station back in my hometown of Philadelphia, knew they were hiring. So we got we got the graduation. Got a job at the local Fox station as a part-time public affairs assistant. So I was just happy that I had my foot in the door at a local TV station. And then from there progressed, they were starting a morning show. I did that for a few years, moving up the ranks as production assistant, planning editor, just getting a lot of hands-on experience. Also working part-time for the sports department, which I love, being a Philly native, big Philly sports fan across the board. So I said I could do this full year. And then I applied to ESPN, and maybe a year later got a call back and came up here to work.
So what kind of duties have you done at ESPN? Where'd you start?
Pretty much been on the assignment desk the entire time, but it's gone through a series of evolutions. It's changing. It changes with technology. It changes with the demand. It changes with the sports landscape. So it's very different from when I started.
So let's break. So what is the assignment desk? What is your job?
The assignment desk is often described as the nerve center of the network. Everything kind of funnels through us. The requests from the shows like SportsCenter, getting highlights for various shows. We work with the reporters out in the field, we work with the leagues, we work with the team PR people. We're doing everything from making sure all of the live games are recorded here to getting credentials for our staff, booking camera crews. It's a little bit of everything, but we are basically kind of funneling, and we work with news editors, producers, reporters to basically.
How many people are on the assignment? How many hundreds of people are on the assignment desk?
I wish we had hundreds. There are currently 15 of us that handle domestic and 4 that handle international.
Wow, it sounds like for such a big place. I mean, to take me through a day, because it seems like when you mention of all those, I'm like thinking of a whole army of people handling all this stuff. You guys must be great multitaskers.
Yes, that is the key. It's definitely
So take me through a day.
So each of us handle a specific sport. So right now I handle baseball. And for me, it's coming in to look ahead. What games are we covering today? Or looking ahead to tomorrow, next week, what's going to be the big game? There's games that are on our air that we assist with the production of. If it's a big story, like we have the White Sox playing the Cubs this weekend, Chicago team's big story. So I'll work with the reporters that are going to be there, make sure that they can get into the game. What do they need? How many camera people? Are we sending a big production truck with a satellite dish, or are we just sending a handheld camera? What shows are going to need live reports? Are they going to do pregame or postgame interviews? SportsCenter baseball tonight. So just have to make sure everything's covered and that the assignments are being taken care of. And then in addition to that, I'm making sure.
So how many people did you end up sending to that? I know they did the White Sox Cubs game. So so how many people were
So
that was
total, I would say about 3. And they're covering the series. It's 1 reporter, 1 producer, 1 camera guy with a digital handheld camera.
But sometimes for a bigger event, obviously, you're bringing in the whole.
If it's a game on our air, it's probably 200 people, closer to.
And you're responsible for getting all those 200 people?
No, so that's a different
Okay, all right,
department
good.
With them.
Right. But so you're talking pretty much the reporters and
what we call the daily coverage for studio shows, which is.
So like right now, NFL, as we speak in July of 2016, because these might be seen at a later date.
Yeah.
Right now, NFL training camps are getting started. So now you're going to have reporters all over the place.
So the NFL assignment editors are very busy right now because I believe today we are at 7 different camps with reporters, producers, camera people, and they've been doing live shots since 8 a.m. this morning for SportsCenter. They'll be there throughout the day through 6 p.m. SportsCenter, of course, because that's the mothership. And then they'll tape some things that can run on the later shows like 11 p.m. SportsCenter and the 1 a.m. SportsCenter.
So you're responsible for baseball, so you're responsible for making sure all these, you get live feeds from all these games,
Yes.
and so for highlights and
Yes.
And if Tim Kirkshin says I want to go to, or to cover the Dodgers and the Giants, he would go through you to kind of.
If he wasn't going with, say, the Baseball Tonight separate game production staff and is just going, say he's just going to go to cover for SportsCenter, then he would go through me. He's got carte blanche, so I don't have to get him a credential, but
Right.
but yeah, that's the kind of thing.
But if you're going to have a camera crew though there, you have to make sure that there's a camera crew and
Yes.
someone to kind of help him.
Yeah, coordinate when to show up, when to meet him, when do they wrap up.
When does it get its craziest for you, or is it crazy every day?
For baseball specifically?
Yeah, or just in period, just.
Baseball spring training is probably the craziest. And then, of course, World Series, once it gets down to the championship, because you don't know, especially in the divisional championship series, because from game to game, sometimes you don't know where you're going to be next. If it's like game 4, game 5, whatever, you don't know where they're going to be next. So that kind of gets dicey for us.
What's like is it all hands on deck for like a Super Bowl or something like that?
Absolutely.
What's that like? How many people are you guys
Pretty
sending
much,
up?
no, regardless of sport, you cannot take vacation time during Super Bowl. Like, everybody needs to be here now. You're probably talking like a couple hundred people out on site, a lot of preparation. Now we're really big on sending multiple shows out to sites. So you might see SportsCenter, First Take, His and Hers, NFL Primetime, NFL Live, all broadcasting live from this.
And so I suppose that's probably, as you said, how that's changed through the years.
Yeah.
That's probably the biggest thing is that ESPN has gone from a studio, and they still do obviously quite a bit to the studio, but to doing much more live, being on site.
Being there with the fans, the crowd is huge for us. Like, you'll see that across the board with pretty much all the sports. NBA, they did that during NBA Finals, where you basically had a SportsCenter set in the middle of the plaza, surrounded by fans in front of
And why is that? Why is that format kind of working?
I guess it's about serving the fans and making them feel like they're
there
there when they're not there. Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And so you will be coordinating. So your job is you're coordinating with the producers of these different shows and saying here's what here's what we want and that just sounds it sounds like it just gets crazy. What about the Olympics coming up here as we speak? That maybe that's not as big for you guys since you're not the
rights holder. Yeah, we are sending a couple people down to assist because we do have international rights.
Right.
So ESPN Brazil, ESPN Argentina, they can air the Olympics down there, but we go through them to try to get a couple of interviews, couple of some sound bites that we could actually air domestically. So
how has it changed then for you? You said it kind of since you started.
Technology-wise, like social media has been huge. So
how does that impact what you do?
What we do, so when we get fan-generated video, like somebody's recording with their phone and got a cool interview or cool pictures of a player or something.
That happens quite a.
Oh yeah. We'll have to reach out to them for permission. We won't use a fan video unless we're permitted to do it. If it's inside of the ballpark, there's also restrictions. We can't use fan-generated video within a ballpark. So it's not that we're able to use everything, so we have to go through the restrictions. Or music, if somebody has music on a video that they made, it has to be cleared through the artist, so we can't just jump in and use it. So we have to get producers to understand that. And then players, when they post video, whether it's Snapchat, Twitter, Facebook, we have to get their permission or the team's permission. Because you see more and more teams and athletes using social media as well. So the minute they post something interesting, we want to get it and put it on our social media. So that has definitely changed the landscape of how we.
So that definitely. So and you guys are doing that quite a bit, obviously, because they're making news effectively.
Yeah, nobody puts out a press release anymore. It's on Twitter, and that's our means of confirming a story sometimes, or the league has released this and we can go with it.
Wow.
And it's all through Twitter.
So one question I've asked several people: when you tell people, you work for ESPN, they go, oh wow, what's it like? What do you say?
I say it's fun. It's always different. It's never boring. It's different every day. I mean, we go through the same, processes of getting assignments done, but the news is always different. You never know you're going to come in and who's getting hired, who's getting fired, who's getting traded. It's always, it's fun. If you're a sports fan, it's.
Is it that? I mean, is it really like that? I mean, is it kind of like, if this is this? And people say that, but is that really the case? I mean, that's really the case.
It's still work, but at the end of the day, I just have to sit back and put it all in perspective and say, here's what I could be. I could be, no offense to bankers, I could be working in a bank,
right.
But I'm sitting here getting paid to watch, games and to work with all these great people, these great reporters, talents, former athletes. And to, bring joy to people. Sports is such a bridge of, people across different backgrounds, and it's great to be a part of something like that.
Great. Well, we're happy to have you here, and thanks
you.
for contributing to this class.
Thank you.
Thank you.